absolutely pleased to be welcoming Henrietta McLachlan to the camera today. She's currently based in the UK and she is the owner and founder of Elklan. Hello.
Hello.
Hi, thank you so much for joining me this afternoon. Okay, can you tell me a little bit about Elklan? What does Elklan do?
Elklan helps teachers, early years practitioners and parents to support their children, and particularly children with speech, language and communication needs.
Is that just children with special needs, or do you envisage that all children have speech and language need?
Through our training, we go through typical development. So we're about promoting the communication skills of all children, but obviously we're focusing on those who have a need in this particular area.
Have you seen an increase in that since COVID, an increase in children requiring additional support?
Yes, and definitely the younger children, it's had a real impact on them.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think what we're seeing in schools out here in the Middle East is that the children, I think we were envisaging it would be the 3 to 4 year olds, which we are seeing an increase in 3 to 4 year olds, but actually 5, 6, 7 seem to be really struggling as well. I think the other thing we know is that speech and language and communication is a barrier for lots of children with those additional needs like dyslexia and ADHD. But there is also a lot of hidden need that our children are not identified with. So is your system something that we do with children one-to-one? Is it something we embed throughout the whole classroom or throughout the whole school? Tell us about how what you've developed is implemented into a school.
Well, we equip teachers and the learning support assistants with the tools to help all of the children, and it is not an intervention.
Right.
It's literally learning about what we do when we communicate. What are the processes that are involved? So we break it all down because it is complicated. So we break it down into the individual processes, like just being able to listen and to concentrate. Young children obviously can only concentrate for a few minutes, but by the time they get to secondary, they're in lessons for a whole hour. That can be very, very stressful for students. So we go through the process of how we learn to listen and how we learn to concentrate. So we may have a child who's much older. We may have a child who's 9 or 10, but actually their listening and concentration is more like 2 to 3 year olds. So how can we help them? They may be able to understand language when the classroom or the learning environment is really quiet, but you bring in the hubbub of a normal classroom, that child's going to really struggle to remain focused. They will switch off. And then although they've got the ability, they just can't cope. And that can have a significant impact on their ability to learn. So we look at all the different aspects that make up communication. What's the typical development so that we can have realistic expectations? And if a young child or older child is struggling with any element, well, what can we do? What can we do to support them? So it's not about taking the child out of the classroom, because while they're out of the classroom, what are they missing? So
Right.
the children are kept in the classroom, the young child in their natural learning environment. And how can you, as the supporting adult, what skills, what strategies can you bring to enable that young person to learn and to communicate?
And I guess any strategy that we put into a whole class environment is going to benefit all children, not just that individual child or 3 or 4 children that are struggling. How does the impact with children who have second language, who English might be their second or third or fourth language? Does it also support the children with English language need?
Yeah, absolutely. And that's explicit. We don't have, and we never have had, a separate course. We also call it additional language, because EAL or English gives all the emphasis to English, but actually there are many children who are learning multiple languages. So let's value all languages, all diverse cultures. So it's woven into all of our courses about how to support children who are learning more than one language.
Okay, so I think when we think about communication, we just think about expression, verbal expression, and we think about receiving information orally. Is there much more to communication than just expressive and receptive language?
That's it in a nutshell,
Okay.
but it's breaking that down rather than thinking, oh my goodness, this child isn't understanding. It's saying, okay, they're not understanding, but let's break it down. Where are the vulnerable points? What is the child able to do? What are they finding difficult? And by pinpointing and increasing our understanding, then we can be more targeted in our support and much more able to differentiate. So you say about supporting all the children, you can only do that if you have all of these skills. And the more practice you have, the more you can recognize, oh yes, that child is following a similar pattern. But of course, every child is different. So you need to be highly skilled to meet all these differing needs and being able to tweak how you support them, which is a problem with interventions, because even though you may have a manualized intervention, you've still got to understand the processes of communication so you can tweak it to meet individual needs. And that's not just an intervention for speech and language, because after all, as you say, understanding and expression underpins all learning. So even if it's an intervention for mathematics, you still got to be able to understand the language and express yourself. So we support in the classroom with interventions, and also what about outside the classroom? You know, a lot of issues happen at break time, dinner time. What happens at home? Because some of these children can contain themselves while they're at home under a huge amount of stress. And then they go home and golly, they just can't maintain it. Yes. And that can cause real challenges for parents.
Yeah, and I guess that communication impacts on social emotional learning as well. So, because I think you've got a module or something coming up with social emotional connection into the communication program.
Yep, that's brand new. We went up and piloted it in Manchester last week. It was really well received.
Okay.
And that's going to be available from August the 1st. So yes. I think so. We're always creating.
And it's an ever changing landscape as well. So because you've got that expressive and receptive language, but you've then got your emotional language. And one of the things I know we struggle with in the Middle East is children can say they're happy or they're sad, but happy and sad doesn't actually convey what's going on at all. Is it jealousy? Is it frustration? Is it anxiety? What does happy or sad mean? They can so giving them the communication and the language around that, I think, is absolutely vital. So how does your program work? Do you train one individual teacher? Do you come out and train the whole school? How does it dilute into the classroom from where you are with all your knowledge and all your experience and your whole program? How does that translate to the individual teacher in the classroom?
We've built up a really flexible way of meeting the needs of practitioners. So we either have tutors, and we have some tutors that we have now trained in Dubai, who could come to one school or one group of schools and train some individuals. Now, those individuals can be teachers, learning support assistants. It's really important that the ones who are supporting the children with the need get access to the understanding and the support strategies. So we can do whole groups, or certainly, actually, we started before COVID. We have a good system of e-learning, which people do in their own time at home, but then they tap into live webinars. So they attend a consistent group. There's only 10 people on it, so they're really small. It's like having a conversation like we are. And they prepare things while they're doing their home study, and then come together and talk about what they've learned, opportunity to ask their own questions. So 1 on 10, the practitioner can get some support. So so the e-learning enables us to take individual people from schools all over the place. And from the UK, we're taking practitioners from all over the world who, you know, subject to different time zones, can come and join one of our classes. So we're really flexible in how we can meet individual needs.
Okay. And is it all aimed at just the teachers in the classroom? You mentioned their learning support assistants. I think a vital network for children is their parents. Do you do work with parents as well?
Yes. So in terms of the courses, we've got courses for different ages. So this is one for children aged 5 to 11s, and we've got 3 to 5s and 11 to 16s. Okay. But we've also got courses for parents. So like this is the one for the under 5s. The idea being that everyone sings from the same hymn sheet. So for the practitioners, whether they're teachers or learning support assistants, this gives them a lot of detail to help a lot of children in various education settings and what the child is doing throughout the day. Whereas the one for the parents, we've added a lot more pictures. This one, for example, you can see it's
right.
So this one is the really key messages. This is the information that you really do need and would help parents as well. So that's important, because if parents are encouraging the child in the same way, then the child's going to get more holistic support.
Absolutely. So we know that the children are in school for 8 hours, but they are at home for 18. I can't do math in the daytime, but then they also have the weekends and all the school holidays and all of that additional time with children. I can't believe I got my maths so horribly wrong there. I know my audience will forgive me. So again, with the parents, is that something? So if we had 10 schools and they all had one parent in need, we put those 10 parents together and they work together?
Absolutely, yes. And again, we can an Elkland tutor could come and support the parents. The other thing that we've done in the UK is somebody who's done one of our level 3 courses, because all our courses are accredited, and the practitioners can study at either level 2 or level 3. If they've done the level 3, they can become Let's Talk tutors. And that's really valuable for a school. So if they've got practitioners who want to deliver training, but they're not speech and language therapists or something like that, then they can take on the role of sharing these key messages with the parents. So that's a really good way of meeting capacity within the school.
So it's individual teachers can come and upskill their own training. Individual parents can come and upskill their knowledge and skills. Departments can do it together, you know, inclusion departments, and then whole schools can do it if they like. And is there like a whole school, I want to call like a kite mark, like a stamp of the school is a communication rich school? Is there a kite mark?
Yes. Yeah, we've got all of that. So we've got communication friendly school status or communication friendly settings. And to achieve that, we need 4 members of staff, basically 2 teachers and 2 support staff. And then one of those teachers and one of the support staff cascades training to everyone, all the staff. And there's a dedicated platform so that they complete questionnaires about how useful that cascading training was to them. So yes, we've got, and that's also accredited, so accredited communication friendly setting status.
That's amazing. That's such a rich offer to help individuals, children, parents, schools to upskill their communication ability. So you've got, you said earlier on that within Dubai, you've already got some trained trainers. And do you have any schools that are already communication friendly awarded?
Yes, we have. Yes.
That's awesome. So you already have practitioners here on the ground who would be ready to mobilize and to help implement this as quickly as possible. That's fantastic. That's
definitely.
awesome. Okay, well, I hope that everybody enjoyed listening to the offer that Elkland have. I have been involved in a school that became communication friendly awarded, accredited, and I did see a massive improvement in not only the teachers' confidence in delivering the strategies required to help children, and the outcomes of that were improved reading, improved comprehension, improved writing and listening and speaking and delivery, and the whole caboodle around expressing what they are learning within the classroom. So I do highly recommend it. I have worked with Elklan in the past, and if you are interested in improving your communication levels within the school, do let Elklan know. Take a look at the webpage. There's a little bit more information there with some video links, etc., to Elklan and some of their offer. And if you want to know further information, please do let me know, or go straight to Henrietta and her team. Charlie's email will be on the website as well. So thanks very much for listening. Thanks very much for joining me, Henrietta.
Thank you, Louise. Thank you. Okay, bye for now.
And good luck with everything you're doing.
Thank you. Okay, bye.